Welcome to our interview on the pressing issue of superbacteria and antibiotic resistance. Today, we have an esteemed expert joining us. Could you please explain the reasons behind antibiotic resistance?
Certainly. Antibiotic resistance is primarily driven by the overuse and misuse of antibiotics, including their inappropriate prescription for viral infections. Additionally, inadequate adherence to prescribed regimens and the use of antibiotics in animal agriculture contribute to the development and spread of resistant bacteria.
How would you define superbacteria?
Superbacteria, also known as superbugs, are strains of bacteria that have acquired resistance to multiple antibiotics, making them challenging to treat effectively.
Are superbacteria particularly dangerous?
Absolutely. Superbacteria pose significant threats to human health as they can cause severe and potentially life-threatening infections. Their resistance to multiple antibiotics limits treatment options and increases the risk of treatment failure and complications.
What efforts are being made in drug development to combat superbacteria?
Researchers and pharmaceutical companies are actively working to discover and develop new antimicrobial agents that can effectively target superbacteria. Additionally, alternative treatment strategies like combination therapies and drug repurposing are being explored.
How does the overuse of antibiotics contribute to antibiotic resistance?
Overuse of antibiotics leads to selective pressure on bacteria, promoting the survival of resistant strains. When antibiotics are used unnecessarily or inappropriately, bacteria have a higher chance of developing resistance, leading to the emergence of superbacteria.
Can you explain how superbacteria acquire resistance to multiple antibiotics?
Superbacteria can acquire resistance through various mechanisms, including genetic mutations and the exchange of genetic material with other bacteria. These genetic elements carrying resistance genes can be easily transferred, facilitating the rapid spread of resistance.
Are there any specific populations that are more vulnerable to superbacterial infections?
Individuals with compromised immune systems, such as the elderly, newborns, and those undergoing chemotherapy or organ transplantation, are particularly vulnerable to superbacterial infections.
How does the improper disposal of antibiotics contribute to antibiotic resistance?
Improper disposal, such as flushing antibiotics down the toilet or pouring them into drains, can contaminate water sources and contribute to the development of resistant strains. It is essential to dispose of antibiotics properly to mitigate this risk.
What are the implications of superbacterial infections in healthcare settings?
Superbacterial infections in healthcare settings can lead to prolonged illnesses, increased mortality rates, and higher healthcare costs. The limited treatment options available against superbacteria further complicate the management of these infections.
Is the global interconnectedness a factor in the spread of superbacteria?
Absolutely. The global interconnectedness facilitated by international travel and trade has accelerated the spread of superbacteria across borders. This makes it challenging to contain and control the dissemination of resistant strains.
How can responsible antibiotic use help combat antibiotic resistance?
Responsible antibiotic use involves ensuring that antibiotics are prescribed only when necessary and used correctly. This helps minimize the selective pressure on bacteria, reducing the development and spread of resistance.
What role can policymakers play in addressing antibiotic resistance?
Policymakers can implement regulations and guidelines to promote responsible antibiotic use, support research and development of new antibiotics, and invest in infection control measures to curb the spread of antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
Are there any innovative approaches being explored to combat superbacteria?
Yes, researchers are exploring innovative approaches such as the development of new therapies that target specific mechanisms in superbacteria, as well as the use of bacteriophages, which are viruses that can target and kill specific bacteria.
What can individuals do to contribute to the fight against antibiotic resistance?
Individuals can play their part by following prescribed antibiotic regimens diligently, not pressuring healthcare providers for antibiotics when unnecessary, and adopting good hygiene practices to prevent infections and reduce the need for antibiotics.
Are there any success stories in combating antibiotic resistance?
While the challenge of antibiotic resistance remains significant, there have been instances where concerted efforts have led to the containment and control of resistant bacteria. This highlights the importance of implementing comprehensive strategies and interventions.
What collaborations are necessary to address antibiotic resistance effectively?
Collaboration among healthcare sectors, government agencies, researchers, pharmaceutical companies, and international organizations is vital. By working together, we can pool resources, knowledge, and expertise to tackle antibiotic resistance comprehensively.
Can you shed some light on the role of infection control measures in combating antibiotic resistance?
Implementing robust infection control measures, such as strict hand hygiene, proper sterilization techniques, and appropriate isolation protocols, can significantly reduce the spread of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in healthcare settings and communities.
Are there any particular challenges faced in the development of new antibiotics?
Developing new antibiotics is a complex process that involves extensive research, clinical trials, and regulatory approval. However, the financial challenges, lengthy timelines, and the emergence of resistance to new antibiotics present hurdles in this process.
Is public awareness an important aspect of addressing antibiotic resistance?
Absolutely. Raising public awareness about the risks of antibiotic resistance, the importance of responsible antibiotic use, and the need for new treatments is crucial in gaining support and driving collective action against this global health threat.
What can be done to prevent the spread of superbacteria within communities?
Promoting good hygiene practices, such as regular hand washing, practicing safe food handling, and ensuring proper sanitation, can help prevent the spread of superbacteria within communities.
How do you envision the future of antibiotic development and the fight against antibiotic resistance?
The future of antibiotic development lies in innovative approaches, such as the use of combination therapies, personalized medicine, and the development of novel antimicrobial agents. However, continued research, investment, and global collaboration are vital in staying ahead of antibiotic resistance.
In conclusion, what is your message to our audience regarding the urgency of addressing antibiotic resistance?
Antibiotic resistance poses a grave threat to global health, and we must act urgently. By collectively prioritizing responsible antibiotic use, supporting research, and implementing effective infection control measures, we can preserve the efficacy of antibiotics and ensure a healthier future for all. Let us join forces to tackle this challenge head-on.
Thank you for sharing your expertise and insights with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure discussing this important topic, and I hope our conversation helps raise awareness and make a positive impact on superbacteria prevention and care.